Boris Johnson needed to sell this deal to Brexit hardliners, and it appears he's done just that.
Well, once the legal experts of the so-called Star Chamber, the ERG's legal experts, declared that Boris Johnson had not compromised any of the UK's negotiation red lines, that was a done deal. We're going to be in the very perverse situation in Parliament tomorrow that the arch Euro-skeptics, the ERG, are going to vote for a free trade deal with the EU, and the declared Europhiles, the SNP, Scottish National Party, and the Liberal Democrats, are going to vote against the free trade deal. And since we passed legislation that meant that we're leaving with or without a deal on the 31st of December, that means that they're voting for no deal. I don't know how they're going to explain that to their voters, but I'm glad it's not me.
If and once this deal is ratified, what does January 1 now look like to you?
Well, it's the culmination of a lot of work. If you'd said to me 5 years ago, when we were struggling even to get a referendum so that people could have a vote on our membership of the European Union, that we'd get a deal that returned our sovereignty, free trade agreements, gets rid of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, and we wouldn't pay huge sums of money to the European Union anymore, I wouldn't have just pulled your hands off. I'd have pulled your arms and legs off to get that deal as well. And it's only through Boris Johnson's determination and Lord Frost, the chief negotiator, sticking to their guns, that at the last minute the EU crumbled. It's clear that they needed a deal at least as much as we did. And Boris was willing to go with effectively WTO, or as he put it eloquently, an Australia-style relationship with the European Union. Apparently he told Ursula von der Leyen what a wonderful country Australia was, in an unsubtle hint that was only on Monday, that last Monday, that we'd be happy to go on Australia terms unless the EU moved, and they moved at the last minute.
Yeah, well, it appears both sides did make some compromises, the UK, particularly over fishing. But one of the concerns raised about this deal is that of security, with the UK losing access to real-time data sharing with the EU and European arrest warrants. I note that Lord Peter Ricketts, who for our viewers was a former National Security Advisor to David Cameron, he's warned that these systems will be a lot clunkier, more time will be spent on trying to get them to work rather than catching criminals. Will the UK be less safe for residents and visitors as a result?
No, we're going to have better control of our borders, and ultimately it's the European Union that relies on information and security cooperation from the UK, both for security and defence. We're a major power for European defence. Now we'll be outside the European Union, but also we're the only member of the Five Eyes, along with Australia, Canada, New Zealand and the US, and obviously that's the major source of anti-terrorist and security information, which on occasion we share with our European friends. So the big losers on this are potentially the European Union, not us.
Now, I want to turn to the UK-Australia deal. That there's still some negotiations going on there. Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott and trade advisor your government, he said in November he wanted that deal to be inked before 2021. That's obviously not looking very likely at the moment. When could we realistically see a deal?
Well, we've got deals coming in almost every day. I think we've done 62 free trade deals with countries around the world while we've been negotiating with the European Union to get that one over the line. I think now that we've sealed, well, hopefully tomorrow it'll go through Parliament, we'll seal the deal with the European Union, and then we can concentrate on other important economies to the UK, such as Australia. I'm personally very keen for us to have very close links in the future with Australia, New Zealand and Canada, and I would be very supportive of a Kanzuk-style trading bloc, which would make us about the fourth biggest trading bloc in the world. We've got the same head of state, and we're all parliamentary democracies based on the Westminster system, and ultimately I'd like to see a freedom of movement, visa-free travel, freedom to work, start a business in any of our countries. I think that would be a great step forward. No language problems at all. It would be a great coalition of the Anglosphere.
Now, when it comes to particularly tariffs and quotas, I know particularly our red meat industry here would be quite eager for you to ditch your extremely restrictive quotas and the above quota tariffs. Would that be something that you would support?
Yes, I think so. And coming back to the EU deal, what you have to remember and what the EU needs to realise, there are further negotiations for passporting, for financial services, security information. They'll be dealt with over the months and years to come. But the EU will never have any more influence and control over us than they do today. Given the free trade deals we've done and we will do around the world, the proportion of our imports and exports that will come from the European Union, where it's the only part of the world we've got a huge trade deficit with, actually, will decrease, and that will decrease their hold on us. And in 5.5 years, when we come to renegotiate the fishing and take full control of our quotas, the EU will be a much smaller part of the UK economy.
So when could we see this deal with Australia? We're talking, is it a matter of, weeks, months, end of next year rather?
Well, you'll have to ask your inside man, Tony Abbott. I hope he remembers who's paying his wages at the moment. That's all I'll say.
We'll turn now to the COVID situation. Another daily record in the UK with 53,000 new COVID cases. Now, your government has been warned to double the vaccination target. How likely is that?
Well, we've got some very good news. I was expecting it today, but I think it'll come probably tomorrow that we're going to approve the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. We've got 100 million doses of those. We're already vaccinating with 10 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine. But of course, that needs to be kept at -80, and you've got to take two injections 2 weeks apart, so it is a bit more clunky. If we can get on now and vaccinate with our AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, that's got to be the answer. Clearly, this new strain of COVID-19 is particularly worrying. It may not be more lethal, more fatal, but it's certainly easier to transmit, and it's some evidence that it's being transmitted more readily to younger individuals, which is increasingly worrying. We've got to make full effort now to get vaccination rolled out as fast as possible, get those injections in people's arms and get back to normal. And obviously we've got a fantastic vaccine which we've produced, which we're going to have many doses, hundreds and hundreds of millions of doses available for other countries around the world. And I've actually written to the Prime Minister last week asking him to use our very generous aid budget to provide the Oxford vaccine to countries who haven't got that provision to help them out.
Andrew Bridgen, thank you very much for your time.